So the final step after you understitch your front hemline is to finally go ahead and close your side seams. So you want to turn your vest inside out so that the front side seam and the back side seam are together in the round. So you kind of have to reach through once you turn it inside out, and you want to reach through and reach through your front side seam, grab your back side seam and pull it towards the front to set it inside to set it inside the front side seam. And you want to make sure everything is together in the round like a set-in sleeve. Make sure your belt loop is in the proper, or your belt tie is in the proper position on the inside of the garment as well. And then you're just going to sew your side seam at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And you're going to sew it all the way around in the same way you would do a set-in sleeve. So here I just want to show you what it should look like on the inside. You should still have a hole, and you should be able to get your hand in there when you're done sewing it around. So just make sure you don't sew the layers all together. You want to make sure you only have 2 layers together. And there's your seam. So you want to do that for the other side as well, but for the other side you're not going to be able to go all the way around. So what I'm showing you here is when you do your other side seam, the opposite side seam, you have to close it in a little different way, because now we finally have gotten to where we only have one opening in the garment. So you won't be able to go all the way around and get out of the vest at this point. So what you want to do is turn your vest right side out, and you're going to sew the remaining open side seam in the round to leave a small inside opening. And to do that, you're going to have to put the back side seams together first, which is what I'm doing here. Okay, so you see where the back side seams are together there, and you want to start sewing that seam first. Then you want to keep going around as far as you can. So once you sew the back side seam first, you're going to keep sewing all around on the inside, and you'll get to a certain point where you're no longer able to sew around, and you'll notice that in the garment, like you can't keep folding the front side over the back, anymore, and you'll have to stop. So you should end up with an opening. It might be around like 3 or 4 inches. This is where you'll have to go in and you'll have to close the stitch by hand. So you can blind stitch it, or you can slip stitch it by hand just to close it. So that's going to be a hand stitch that you're going to use. You want to put your care label into this opening. So you want to just attach it. You can make a small machine stitch to attach it, and then just slip stitch or blind stitch over it. Make sure you fill out the information. So what I just want to show you up until this point is what your seam should look like. So once you've sewn the outer seam first, you'll see where your belt tie is caught, and there it is. The next thing that you want to do, well, here's your belt tie right here. The next thing, when you flip it over, you'll have the little opening. You put your care label on the inside, slip stitch it, and you're done.